Hello, friends, and welcome back to r/IDontWorkHereLady. And for a little warm-up, our first story today. Okay, lady, I'll load your 12 bags of mulch for you. At a local big box hardware / plumbing / gardening / etc. store, let's call it Blows, picking up a few bags of topsoil for my garden. As I'm loading the back of my truck, some woman drives up to the loading area and tells me, "As soon as you're done with that one, I need you to load up my order." Then shoved a receipt at me and got back into her SUV, where she promptly got on her phone and started chatting away. I plan on finishing up my load and leaving, but while I'm working, I can hear her on the phone. This store hires the laziest people. The kid they have doing the loading is so slow. So on and so forth. Okay, lady, we'll do it your way. So I load the back of her SUV with the wettest, nastiest bags of mulch I can find on the piles, being sure to stack them neatly in the back. And also being sure that I slash the back of every bag open with the box cutter. Tell her she's all loaded up, hand her back her receipt. "Have a good day, ma'am." Took you long enough, didn't it? She slammed her door and drove off. Not as long as it's going to take her to clean 480 pounds of moldy wet mulch out of the back of her SUV when she gets home. Sometimes the best solution is to just walk away. And our next story. I had an I don't work here lady moment while telling an I don't work here story. From 2010 to 2014, I worked a walk-in, 15 minutes a cut, quick-style salon in the largest shopping center of an extremely small town. The salon was located 2 doors down from Dollar Store, for this story in particular. We also shared a parking lot with Walmart on one end and 4 fast food restaurants on the other end, all subjects for different stories. One cannot comprehend the amount of time I spent wandering the shopping center, mostly at the behest of others, and getting paid for it. Being unmedicated, undiagnosed ADHD, I completed my haircuts with speed and accuracy, all the while chatting up all clients, not just mine, doing chores and making store runs for the other girls. Even medicated now, I'm not very good at sitting still. I would volunteer for most side jobs and anything that got me out of the store. Being the youngest stylist with restless, anxious energies to spare, I tended to jump up to greet clients. I unwittingly stole a lot of haircuts. If I was slow and my coworkers needed to make up numbers, a lot of requests from different stores poured onto me. I didn't realize what they were doing until later. Part of the reason I left. Anytime you wear an apron to a store with an apron in the uniform, you're going to get mistaken for an employee. It happened a lot to the other girls and myself, but this might have been due to the size of the town and familiar faces. It doesn't seem to matter that the store's apron is bright green and mine is glitter black vinyl or zebra stripe or my favorite paisley tie-dyed one. One such day, I was standing in the back of the line at checkout, arms full of candy, using my incredibly vivid apron as a sling to carry a verified crap ton of super cheap junk food. I turned to look for the child wailing in the distance of the store and confirmed it was a fit and not abuse. Child of social worker, that's where my brain goes. Anyway, I turned back to face the line and found a lovely elderly lady in front of me chuckling to herself. She met my eyes, saying, "I just did a cartoon-like triple take when I saw you behind me," she giggles a little. "I saw the apron when I looked for the crying baby. I started to turn back around to ask you something and realized your apron wasn't a uniform, but then I had to really look at your apron. I think my daughter-in-law, who's a beauty operator, correct term in the 1950s, would love it." I thanked her for the compliment and wrote the name of the website I got the apron from down for her. She chuckled again about almost mistaking me for an employee. I told her it happens every time I come in here, but mostly people are pretty nice when I tell them I don't work here. But I'm here often enough I could probably find it anyway. She tells me, "That's very sweet." And then her eyes dart towards my shoulder. I realize someone's been clearing their throat behind me for some time. I thought it was the next customer until she tapped my shoulder. I turned, arms full of a diabetic coma. She stepped back, already turning red, realizing her mistake, and started apologizing. The woman in front of me laughed so hard she had to lean on the counter for support. I tried to explain to the Karen that we'd just been talking about this, and she looked mortified. I explained that the woman's laughing at the irony, not her mistake, and I politely asked what she was looking for in the first place and sent her in the right direction. She again apologized and thanked me profusely, backing away. The lady and I started giggling to ourselves for both of our transactions. She came back to the salon with me and left me a $20 tip for your style, good attitude, and how you handle yourself. She was one of my regulars, until I left a few years later. Once again, I'm blind, not busy. I posted on here once before about someone grabbing my arm at a grocery store as a teenager. It was a long time ago, but I've had a new experience more recently. I've only been at my new place for a few months, but I live a short distance from a grocery store. Since I can't drive, it's nice to be able to get to the grocery store and get fresh produce without even having to cross the street. That's even nicer since I'm legally blind. I used to travel with a service dog, but he retired due to old age, so now I'm back to working with a white cane. There's a lot of different white canes out there for blind people. Some of them fold up like a tent pole, others are spring-loaded and extend like a telescope, and others are just a long piece of plastic with a simple handle. When it's warmer outside, I use the long plastic one because it's very light and easy to use, even if I have something in that hand. Ultimately, the job of this cane is to keep me from running into something while I walk down the short pathway from my front door to the grocery store. Obstacles along that path could include traffic cones, storm drains, mailboxes, parked cars, and other stuff you'd encounter and accidentally walk into if you couldn't see well like me. So I was on my way home from the grocery store, a large bag of groceries in one hand and my cane in the other. As I'm walking, I'm tapping my cane on the ground in the approximate spot that my foot will be landing in the next step. There's no sidewalk, but there's a pretty wide slanted gutter thing that's nice enough to follow and get home. All of a sudden, I hear someone yell from across the street, "What are you doing?" Figuring that no sane person would question the motives of a blind guy just walking down his driveway, I kept going. I heard footsteps, and the person who shouted gets in front of me, and I almost run into them. Once again, they ask in an accusatory manner, "What in the hell are you doing?" "I'm just going home," I said. "Are you spraying something?" the crazy lady asked. "No, I'm just walking home." "Then what's that thing for?" she says. "This?" I asked, holding up my cane. "This is a cane." "Are you with the groundskeeping crew?" "No, lady, I'm not with the groundskeeping crew." "Then why are you even here?" she gestured wildly. "For the third time, lady. I'm walking home." At this point, I walk past her and go home. I make sure to lock my door in case she tried to follow me. Once again, I was left wondering how sighted people can be so blind to the world around them. Edit to say thank you for all the support and thoughtful responses. My post hit the front of my subscribed feed, and I wanted to use this moment of visibility to remind everybody that people with disabilities exist. They can look much the same as you or anyone, and they can seem to operate with absolutely no issue on their own. This sub is very much about the oblivious and the unkind and how they treat people they believe to be below them. It's very heartening to meet a crowd of strangers on the internet who recognize and fight against this phenomenon. This is the second post of mine to blow up on this sub, and I want to thank each and every one of you for your kindness and understanding. Karen throws me at manager, gets arrested, and I got free drinks. So I'm fairly new to the work world. I've only been working for about 5.5 months at the time of this writing. I work at a car wash, so the confusion comes from my uniform top, which happens to share partial coloration to red. After work, I walk home, and it takes me about 20 to 30 minutes to get there. I usually stop at the grocery store to get drinks and stuff like that. So one day, I forgot to change out of my uniform and was still wearing the shirt and apron that I'm required to wear. The uniform of the grocery store was a button-up of a few different colors, so a distinct difference. I go to the drink aisle and started thinking about what I was going to get when I felt a little tug on my sleeve. I looked to see the typical Karen, only a little shorter, coming up to my chest. I'm 5'10". I stand back thinking that I'm taking up space in the aisle, but that seemingly wasn't the problem. The problem ensued as follows. SK is short Karen, me is me, AE is actual employee, a friend of mine. Short Karen, "Excuse me, you're out of soda. I was wondering if you could go in the back and get some more." Me, "Oh, I'm sorry, I don't work here." And I continued to look at the drinks. SK, "Of course you do. Now go get me." Me, "No, I don't." I point to the car wash logo on my shirt, and she completely ignores it. SK, "Give me your name, because I'm going to complain to your manager." Manager of the car wash was on vacation in Hawaii. Me, I won't give you my name. You don't need my name. I'm fully facing her and whisper, I don't work here. SK, you do need to give me your name. Me, no I don't. Now please, I just want, give me your name now. SK is banshee screeching now when AE comes down the aisle. AE, I hear a commotion. What seems to be the problem here? I go to open my mouth when SK starts ranting on and on about how I was being rude, lazy, and should be fired because the customer was always right. AE tries to explain to SK that I, in fact, do not work there. She wasn't having it. I demand to speak with your manager about this employee. AE, please don't yell. There are other customers than yourself and him. SK, he is not a customer. He's a effing worker. Now get me the effing manager or I'll have both of your jobs. AE gets the manager and SK goes off and tells even bigger lies about AE and I. The manager tries to explain that I don't work here. SK grabs my collar with both hands and throws me towards the manager, knocking him over. He tells AE to call the police. SK then freaks out and bolts for the door but falls over because running in heels is a bad idea. She was arrested for assault and I got out of there with my drink for free. So I had an interesting day. Hey guys, thanks for watching the video to the end, and I'll see you in the next one.